DAO or Decentralized Autonomous Organization has been in the news for the past few weeks. DAO, which refers to an organization which is represented by rules encoded as a computer program, which makes it transparent and decentralized. But it raised the question, how can people who do not know each other or trust each other work together towards a common objective? And how do you govern such an organization in an automated way with transparency and fairness? So in today's video, we'll explain the concept, the details, and why DAOs are getting so much attention. Hey guys, I'm your host, Jordan, and welcome to the channel. So in recent times, DAO has been a talk of town because people are seeing the benefits of having a decentralized, autonomous organization. To understand that, we have to talk about the time before DAOs were created. Historically, the concept of an organization has always been centered around a strict governance structure. So for example, when we picture companies like Google, Apple, or Meta, we picture a clear hierarchy of president, CEO, CTO, CMO, VPs, directors, managers, and employees. And therefore, being higher up in the hierarchy, the more power you have. So many early stage startups and large companies have clearly defined ownership and leadership structures. Although it's possible to own equity in a company and theoretically own part of the organization, the influence over how that organization operates is still very limited. And it's still very dependent on the operations team. In the last few decades, companies have started introducing open and flat organization structures such as Holacracy, which is a system of corporate governance whereby business members form autonomous and symbiotic teams to accomplish tasks and reach the company's goals. It also allows more people in a company to express their voices and be heard. However, in the end, the responsibility of making major decisions for the entire organization usually falls on one person or a small group of people. And for many centuries, determining the ownership, the hierarchy, and the rules has created hurdles for the organization's development. And this raises a question, does a company necessarily need an owner? To answer this is really based on idealism, but thanks to the emergence of blockchain technology, it is now possible to realize a new kind of distributed ownerless organization on the internet, DAO. So how does a DAO work? So a DAO is a decentralized organization that runs on the blockchain. Rules are encoded into a computer program, making it transparent, under the control of shareholders and token holders, and they are unaffected by any central agency. So picture this. It's like a company with no CEO, no employees, no entities, no jurisdictions, and no shareholders. But it can still operate via a decentralized tokens governance process. In a DAO, governance is shared, which means it allows people in the DAO to bring forward proposals and to vote on major decisions. The governance token of the DAO's network is used to represent the vote in the voting process. And the option that receives the highest numbers of votes at the end of the voting period wins. Usually the process are a yes or no question. For example, should DAO A develop product X? Yes or no? The rules of a DAO are written into a network's code and executed automatically according to agreements. Like when a specific condition are met, the corresponding rule will be executed automatically. And by definition, the Bitcoin network is a perfect example of a DAO. It is an organization operating under the request of people who care about the development of Bitcoin, and no one owns it and everyone can participate in its governance. Like all other blockchain networks and decentralized applications, the larger and more distributed the network is, the more flexible, reliable, and powerful the DAO is. All procedure rules and follow-up actions of a DAO are recorded on a transparent and secure blockchain ledger. With an unalterable timestamp and a record of messages distributed to the network participants, it is almost impossible to tamper with it. And the rules around governing a DAO can be very complicated and difficult to change after they have taken effect. Should a change occur, new codes need to be written and the network has to reach a consensus to allow the new change to take place. So why are DAOs so attractive to people? Number one, it is the fast and borderless decision making. Let's say someone in Australia wants to start a business with partners in Japan and France. The current process of setting things up is very complicated. The different geographical location means different jurisdictions, laws, regulation, and requirements, which require much more time and resources to get the ball rolling. In this case, the DAO provides a solution to everyone to work under the same conditions by following a set of standard rules which apply to all parties, regardless of their geographical locations. Essentially, one of the main reasons for the creation of DAO is to provide an equal platform for the establishment and the operation of organizations. Number 2 is the organization-wide voting. Traditionally in a company, important decisions in a company are decided by a board of directors. The problem with this decision-making structure is that only a few selected issues are put on the table, and the voting results may not fully represent the majority of the organization. However, the DAO changes this by allowing everybody in the organizations to vote on an issue that they truly care about. For example, John may care about problem A and problem C, but not so much about problem B. Through the DAO, he can vote on proposals with the proportion of tokens according to the degree of his concern. The DAO will not ignore or exclude the members' input and will ensure that all votes are counted and displayed with a level of transparency. And number 3 is the inability to tamper with the rules. For example, employees who fail to comply with an in-house rule may be punished. If an employee is late, he or she may be issued with a fine. But in a traditional organization, the members are obliged to pay up and will have no say on the proceedings. But if the boss is late one morning, he or she may simply change the rules by making an exception. So in a DAO, we can use codes to ensure that rules apply to everyone without exceptions. A set of established rules within the organizations cannot be tampered with unless the group of the voters agree to do so, ensuring fairness, efficiency, and transparency of the governance. Although DAO might seem good because everyone has equity, but there are some limitations to DAO as well. So the first limitation of DAO is that many decisions still rely on human judgment and not automation. So smart contracts have been implemented to turn numerous manual tasks into automated execution using DAOs, like how a smart contract can determine whether user A can send funds to user B, based on whether a set of criteria has been met. But there are many other decisions out there that require a lot more thought than just ticking checklists. Let's take the allocation of a project fund, for example. A DAO can use smart contracts to send funds, and the development team can use the funds to build an app. However, the smart contract and the rules cannot determine whether the app is up to quality standards or whether the funds have been used reasonably. Therefore, there must be mechanisms available to minimize such problems that may include periodical assessments of the project's progress. And secondly, is the lack of legal recognition. Although DAOs are considered to be more efficient in an operating organization due to its borderless nature, but it can also be seen as a setback. Since there are no regulations or laws overseeing the operations of these DAOs in any country at present, hence, the legal status of such organizations are still ambiguous. Even though smart contracts seems to protect the individual, as of yet, no courts have formally recognized them. So what is the future for DAOs? Despite the challenges that we have discussed, DAOs are widely deemed disruptive to traditional business structures. So when DAOs start taking over legacy corporations, equities like shares may become a thing of the past. And instead, the ownership and governance of a company can be tokenized and represented as a DAO. Although the DAO may not be right fit for every type of businesses out there, but its decentralized and trustless features may help companies improve their operational efficiency and productivity. On top of that, the steady increase of mainstream investments into DAO clearly reflects the potential for a more widespread adoption of such organizational structures. In time, we may see a decline in new LLCs as more businesses may emerge in the form of a DAO. And this brings us to the end of today's video. If you want to read more about such content, do visit huopilearn.com, where we post content about cryptocurrencies. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and it's Jordan signing out.